Hey guys, it's Casual Friday, and that means it's Nancy Matz Friday, and today's topic, we'll be closing out our week of UFOs and UAPs with how to sense when to point your cameras to the skies. See you in about 5 minutes. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust, turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Hey everybody, happy Friday. How we all doing? Hope you made it into Friday. Finally the weekend, right? I'm doing good. It's still hot here. I was hoping to do this show without the AC on, but it's not going to happen. That's okay. I figure it was a month ago. So, let me just go on my phone real quick here, and we'll talk. There we go. Okay. Anyway, my name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner and operator of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team, based out of Sacramento, California. We are 45 strong up and down the state, which means if you have a paranormal issue, we can get you. It may take us a while, because this is a huge state. You know, when you think about California, hang on, just trying to make adjustments here, last minute. When you think about California, a lot of people think that it's kind of like Hawaii in a lot of ways, you know, beaches and all that good stuff. Well, it's true. You know, starting down around, it was probably San Francisco, the beaches are great, all the way down south. Beaches are great in Oregon, too, and all those places, but the thing is, the farther north you go, the colder it gets. So, you know, if you want that sun and fun, you know, you want to be down where it's warmer. But anyway, I'm not cutting Oregon or anything up, okay? I'm just saying. Anyway, so people think of us as being like a beach thing, you know, like Hawaii, and we are. The problem is California is also other stuff. We are mountains. We are deserts. We are high deserts. We are farmland. Lots of farmland. So when you guys do call us, you know, even though we have 45 people up and down the state, it may take us a couple days because it depends where you're located. But if that does happen, you know, in the event that it does take a couple days, we have mediums on staff that can call you and consult with you, and in some cases, they can calm things down until we can get out there. So, you know, it's never more than 2 or 3 days before we can get out there. That being said, welcome to the show. Got a great show for you today. This is ending our week about UFOs and UAPs and all that good stuff. It's been a fun week. It's been a really fun week doing that. Had some great guests on. But my guest tonight, meeting Nancy Matz, as you all know, always has good things to say, and she's going to help us out. You know, we ever have that overwhelming desire to, you know, you're out walking your dog or you're doing something like that, you know, it's dark outside and you have the overwhelming desire to look up in the sky and maybe you see something flying above your head or flying out that you don't know what it is. That's what we're going to talk about. Only this is like a camera thing. If you're carrying your cell phone, if you're carrying like a regular camera with you or whatever, you know, how do you sense when to look up and maybe catch something extraterrestrial up there? Don't know, right? Don't know. So that's kind of like what we're going to talk about today. If you're watching from Facebook, and a lot of you are, please feel free to follow if you haven't done so already. Hit that follow button. Also, as you're watching the show, please show us some love. Give us some thumbs up. Give us some hearts. Give us some smileys. Comment in the chat room. Because what that does is it puts us higher in it does a trigger in the Facebook computer and the FYP, and it puts us higher up in the FYP. My phone went off. It wasn't supposed to go off. Look at that. There we go. Sorry about that. In fact, that's what I was doing when I first started the show, was turning everything off. Mercury is in high retrograde right now. Anyway, that puts us higher in the FYP, and what that does in turn, the Facebook computers see that, and it pushes us out to a lot more people to look at the show. And that's good, right? It's a good thing. The more people see us, the more people might follow us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a snowball effect. So if you could do that for us, that would be great. Same thing with YouTube. It works the same way. If you're watching from YouTube and you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. And there's more than 781 videos over there. It's all this show. And they're all in categories now, so you guys can check it out. Via categories. Oh my God. I just turned that down. Hang on. Go away. That's twice. Anyway, that's my film school calling. Anyway, yeah, same. Like it works the same way at YouTube. You show us some love, get some thumbs up, and all that good stuff, and it puts us up higher in the FYPs, and more people get to see us, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so you want to find California Haunts Radio or California Haunts in general? Come on over to Facebook. We're under California Haunts Radio, California Haunts under my name. You can find us on Instagram under Ghosty Gal, all lowercase. You can find us on Twitter, California Haunts. You can find us on TikTok. I said TikTok. TikTok on California Haunts. Twitch is Cal Haunts. You want to find us on YouTube? Either type in California Haunts Radio or youtube.com/@ California Haunts Radio. See, that was easy. Okay. I think I got it all. Yes. I'm going to do this early in the show. I'm going to do this late in the show. And while you're watching the show, if you like the show, share it with as many people as you can. Okay? If you didn't like the show, share it with people you don't like. I mean, that's what I mean. We're out to get more followers and stuff. So I really appreciate it. We're looking to get our subscribers up to 1,000 on YouTube. We're looking to blow our numbers wide open on Facebook. So, just please help us out and do that. That's all I ask. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to bring Nancy in, and I'll shut my trap, and we can start getting the show on the road. Here we go.
Good evening, everybody. Hi, Shar. I used to, in the beginning of my career with the telephone company, we had a room called the Adoso room, and that's where all the orders from the splicers came in, and we divvied it out to engineering staff and everything. And it sounded just like that. Boy, you just made me... People don't realize I work for a telephone company. I started, which is terrible, 67 with the telephone company. I locked in 24 years before I got into this, and I've been at this job for 33 years. Even though I've done a lot UFO work, I've not done a lot of. In fact, I was going to, wouldn't you know, the greatest plans of mice and men. I'm gonna go straight.
Mercury's in retrograde right now, so anything that can go wrong at this point, and it's been like that for the last 3 days since Mercury went into retrograde, so nothing surprises me.
In all these years, I have been involved with UFO. I had Dr. Richard Boylan work with me on some remote viewing, and but one of the things, and other people, I have not done a lot of regression work for UFO abductees. The field I'm not really trained in, but I have all the materials from one of the classes I've attended, because Shar and I are going to be doing a regression to an incident in her life. Now we're not going to announce the date. I think we still have to coordinate our schedules, but she had one of those, like me, it's not a dream. What happened to us? Did she have a slippage in time, or was she abducted? We don't know, but we're going to find out. And then we're going to have clips of it be shown on one of these shows coming up here, possibly next week. So I do want to talk about that. And it's sometimes really hard to talk about UFO abductees because it's like my belief in past life. I didn't believe in this when I first walked in this field 33 years ago. And only by total exposure, like how many clients were coming to me with stories of, by the way, my granddaughter's telling me that we used to live in Peru, and she was 3 years old. It's just amazing. I mean, it was shoved down my throat. Like, this is happening to me. I'm dreaming. And so when I first got exposed to past life regression work, it was a past life regression I had that I shared with a friend. And my friend said, let me finish that past life regression. And she went to explain further that experience, reinforcing the idea it was real. Coming along, Richard Boylan shows up at my house about 94. And we talk about UFOs, and he had an experience that I helped him remember. And I was like, oh, come on, everybody. I hadn't read in the papers about, just haven't read about Roswell. I hadn't heard about Eisenhower and his connections. I hadn't, nothing, zero. And then when this happened to Mr. Boylan, I talked to him a few more times. And I thought, this is a really nice man. He's educated, 2 or 3 doctors behind his name, and I thought, where is this going? Well, it's not something I want to know about. And over the years, I've had more and more. As I was developing the idea that we survived death because I'd had stage 3 plus cancer, I was 6 months away from being stage 4, and they got it just in time. I guess it was meant to be. But at the same time, the UFO phenomena is creeping into my life. And this experience I had when I lived at Hornbrook, north and east of Wairika, we were 25 miles from the Oregon border, living on Black Mountain, Hornbrook, California, if you want to look up where I was. And I had this experience. Huh?
It's a great area.
Yeah, she and her family, Shar and her family had a house. I was on a mountain, 3,000 elevation. She was at Montague, just down the mountain. And so she was actually in the same area. Oh gosh, it was so beautiful. So we were up there and my husband had an experience. He was going to town. This is years ago. And he comes home and says, and I went, oh, you saw one of those big cigar things. It was huge, like 2 or 3 football fields. And it was gliding very, very slow across the Montague Valley. And I was like stunned. I thought, wow. And he says, well, you see dead people. You see spirit people. I want this for me. He says, but then, and then before I moved down here a year ago, took two and a half years to sell the house. I was trying to sell. Larry was in Oroville for some medical work. When I moved down, before I did, I had this experience, and whether it was a dream or if it was real, how will I know the difference? Same with people who have experiences like Shar.
Mm-hmm.
What really happened? Because we've talked a slippage of time, slippage in time, where you just end up somewhere really astounding. We've talked about the Bermuda Triangle, and that young man with his father went through this tunnel type of experience. I mean, we're talking Skinwalker Ranch and the wormhole effect, and they're everywhere. So anyway, we are now in a second home. The first one was just temporary because it was really close to the hospital and everything. So this one's a little more the country. So finally, I'm not going to have to move again, I hope. So Larry rushes in the house about a week ago, and he says, come outside to the backyard. Come on, come. So I rush out there, and there's big ball. I couldn't even see any shape inside. It was so brilliant. It was yellow gold. And it was going right over our house. And I go, and Larry says, that's it. That's what I saw too. I saw one of those too. I go, oh my gosh. He says, go get your phone. And I go in there to get the camera, ran into the front yard because then it had passed over a house and it was going north to south. And I took 30 seconds as it trailed off, and then all of a sudden it was gone. And then a couple days later, my husband looked up flight activity, satellite, anything they could think of. There was nothing coming over our house. No airport, nothing, no satellite, no space station, nothing. And then he said, it disappeared. That's why my phone didn't get, I do have a video of it. That's why it just disappeared. Because he thinks, why can't those wormhole at Skywalker Ranch be everywhere? And so that was my first experience of being in the right place at the right time. And just Larry saw it first. I do find it curious. This is the 3rd time that he has seen something. Amazing. Amazing. Yet I see spirit people. All I do is click. And they're,
over the years, as I started out, obviously I grew up in a haunted house and was seeing things as a kid. But I was still sarcastic, like when I hit my teen, later teen years. And Nancy can attest to this. Like when the first time I met her.
What a punk, 20-year-old punk.
And it's funny because
she walks around like this.
And I remember going to see Dennis at his house in Lamb Park and did an interview with him, talking about the ghosts and stuff in California and all this. And then he brought up the thing about the UFO. Bad enough I was sarcastic about ghosts. And then he brings this stuff up about all the UFO. And then he goes, there have been 102 UFO abductions here in Sacramento.
And refresh my memory. Who was it you said you interviewed?
Dennis Hawk.
Oh, okay. I know the name. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And he used to do all those TV shows and all that. And I looked at him and I said, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, 102 people have been abducted by aliens." And I kind of looked at my
That
photographer.
reported.
And went, oh. Yeah, and I kind of looked at my photographer and went, "Oh my God."
Oh, God.
Bad enough for looking for ghosts now. Here we are, getting this alien thing trying to. So we
Yeah.
go to the cemetery tour to meet Nancy because I'm going to do a story on her cemetery tour, which I was very sarcastic about in the end. I was talking about people with their hands down in the cold and all this. And we arrived. We were on time, but when we arrived, 102 people had signed up ahead of us.
To come to, oh, really?
And I was standing there, I looked at the list, I looked at my photographer, and I said, "Looky here. 102 people have signed up, and they've all been abducted by aliens, and now they're all here. Looking for ghosts in a cemetery in the dark."
In the
In the dark.
I know.
So that was my attitude, And then,
What-
you know...
That
you guys-
explains a lot. Huh?
It does explain a lot. But, you guys see Nancy every Friday, you know how she is, so as this night's going on and all this stuff's going on, at the very end when I'm interviewing her, I remember asking you about, well, where are they? Where are the ghosts? And you said, "Well, they're around us all the time." And I don't know, I still had my little sarcastic thing going on, right? And I remember Nancy going, blah, blah, blah. And, you talk and you don't miss a beat. You're always like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're explaining this to me, and all of a sudden you go, "Whoop, there's one there." And I went, "Okay, we're done, thank you." But yeah, so that's how the night went. But that was my introduction to, because I had seen like UFOs and stuff growing up anyway, but I never really thought about aliens or anything like that until I talked to Dennis Hawk that day, and he said, "Oh yeah, 102 people have been abducted." Then we go on this tour, and
It was really fun meeting her, and she did show up more times. And
Yes.
it was shortly after
Oh.
that she started. It was shortly after that she started doing ghost investigations, because who can explain this, and how can anybody explain me? I would.
And the other thing was, even during the day, because you pointed stuff out at the cemetery that I never even thought of. Like,
Uh-huh.
like the guy that, I know we're talking about UFOs, guys, I'm sorry, but the guy that
We
sits
will.
on top of the phone, the guy that sits on top of the light pole looking down on people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I never thought of that. So when I would go there, because I love taking photos, black and white photos of the cool tombstones.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I would go out there with my family, and
Yeah.
every time I go by that pole, I'd be like, "Oh, hell."
Well, not necessarily always there. Remember the guy that he was an alcoholic and he was sitting on the bench waiting for his wife and daughter to come by?
yeah,
Those
yeah, yeah.
kind do. Yeah, that guy probably is still there. I often wonder if I would see the same people, like the Mosley girl. Why would she inside the tombstone? Why could we see her so clearly? And your photograph showed up too.
Yeah,
It's
just
like
showed it to you right
sometimes
there.
we're getting off track, honey. We need.
I know, we'll get back on track.
I want to talk about the UFO. Well, I'm bringing. It was fun
Yes.
meeting Shar all those years
Yeah.
ago, and at the
That was
first
my
I went,
story about the UFOs, is how I felt about abductees and stuff at that point.
right, and it's
Before
the
I
same
started getting
thing
into
when all of a sudden she and I are getting the last few years have been amazing. And I told the audience, and I've always told you once, about 7 months ago, I called her up. I says, "Oh, we have got to start the UFO thing. I think it's going to get
Mhm.
really big."
Mhm.
and maybe she doesn't want me to talk to her anymore because I've said other things that have happened. Like, "Nancy, don't talk to me." Well, I sent her a note today on something. You don't need to bring it up if you don't want to, but
No.
I really feel it's important. And the reason I bring in ghost stuff is because when I first learned, and the ghost tours and what we're talking about is kind of tied together, because
Yes.
I'm going to bring up, whoops, my cord is hung up. I couldn't turn my head. It was going to be too tight. So ghost investigations, sometimes we use the same equipment
Yes.
as we would do in UFO. But I'd like to start kind of like at the beginning. I want you to remember when I talked to you about cemetery tours, when you showed up the first time, I can't remember what month it was, because we'd start in July and have 100
It
to
was October
150
because it was
people.
cold. It was cold.
Okay, so I
was
would
cool.
take the tours all the way through to the end of October. And those
Mhm.
tours, I would get up to 250 people, which
Yes.
is kind of,
And
so
half
people
of
say,
them are abducted by aliens.
huh? Yeah.
violins.
I don't know, but I do
Okay.
want to say, and people say, how can you be able to do that? And I
Mhm.
was on a, this is all relative, everybody, please stay with me. I was on another podcast, and it was private because the ladies involved with the podcast just wanted to have fun with me. And I'm up to this. And so 15 people in her group showed up, and I talked to every one of them. I saw who I saw them because it was on Zoom. It was kind of fun. I love meeting people, and it's nice to see people. And they're all around the world. There's Australia, New Zealand, and then there was Malaysia, and then there's Canada, and they were all over. And when I look at somebody, I turn that switch on, like I just go blink, like I show them, I turn the switch on, and I was able to see. I'm looking at you, but I think my mother's in here. eh, My mother, or is
What?
Blanche her mother? No, I
Oh.
got some people here with me, and now I
Ah.
see a man with behind me. Hmm, they're not real
Hey,
clear for some reason.
from what's they're not behind me. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. But anyway, so what I was speaking to is these people were there, and I put my energy to them, and then I branched out in the room and I told them by description all the people that were around each one of them. And the one that stuck to me, and it's kind of like this one lady, she was to the left and she was a blonde, I think. And we could not see her computer screen, but she had been sitting there doing research on genealogy, I think it was. And when she said, "Well, who's behind me?" I saw one, two, 4 or 5 people all clamored real close to her. And I put my mind to them, and of the electrical field that they allow me to see where they're clothing. I could see them, but not as clear as I could see other people. And what it was is those people had been passed away for 50 years. But they knew that she would know who I was talking about by how they were dressed. And she says, "Well, gosh, I really don't know if I know who these people are." And I says, "Well, remember, everybody, I'm seeing what I'm seeing." And I go to a place like the cemetery tours. I would say they're either going to be there or they're not going to be there. I
Mhm.
can see them or I can't see them. And that's the only way I keep my sanity. And the only way I know I'm not insane to make up things, because it's either there or they're not there, right? It's like,
Mhm.
I think my mother and maybe my grandmother are behind me, and I feel them. My mother was very tiny. My grandmother look, I resemble her, but she was an inch too taller. Uh, and I kind of get that feeling. But anyway, um, I went out to another person all the time, and she started screaming. And she says, "Oh my God, I'm doing genealogy and look at the screen. You just described the people on the computer screen. And those people had shown up behind her." So I want you to kind of like, this is all relative to what I'm going to be talking about, because um, UFO activity, ghost, and my feeling them is kind of relative, but no more than somebody who's been in the business of UFO investigation. Um, I better start where I'm going to start. We got off track because it was fun to talk about
I know.
Shar meeting up with the first time. Yeah,
That's
and
why
that
it's
noise.
called. That's why it's called Casual Friday, kids.
They're
Yes, go
very
ahead.
casual, yes. Okay, last week, if you want to go, okay, before I start, on your screen below where I'm shown, you'll follow the options, and there is 3 buttons on the end, right after share, SHARE. Click on one of those, and it will tell you transcript. If you hit that now, or after it's over, I don't know if it'll come up this minute. I think you have to watch the show, has to go through, and then you click on it again, because I'm going to bring up some topics and things that you may want to investigate. So anyway, last week we talked about psychic abilities, energy fields, and that type of thing. And I brought up the idea that if you get a balloon and you rub it between your hands, and then you put it down, or you put it against your hair and your hair stands up. Well, it's the
Mhm.
same if you rub your hands really fiercely, or you hold that balloon and rub it in your hair and put it down. Then when you I'm trying to do this here, you put your hands like here, you push your hands together, you're going to feel electrical charge, electric a field. And we have energetically, every cell in our body has electrical energy around it, whether it's magnetic or not, I'm not sure, but we have what we call the energy field of our body, which is our spirit, and energy never dies. Stephen Hawking says energy never dies. It's like we continue, well, thank you very much. He never said we survive and go with spirit. He just said that electricity's never lost. Maybe it just dissipates to the universe. I don't know, but I'm seeing all the dead people, so I'm going to assume I'm not insane, and I'm able to describe family members. So take it to energy fields. And so last week I talked about energy fields, magnetic fields that are, you could feel it like this. Magnetic fields, you put the balloon and hair stands up, um, and feeling the force between us. Now, with that, if you do it enough times, you're going to find yourself, that's where I'm in right now. Oopsie. Yeah, without trying to do it, just like this. So I can feel my electrical force. And when people see me in a lecture, because I've done a lot of entertaining, um, the ones that are in psychic fairs, what was the big one I did? Evolving Times Expos type of thing in Sacramento. They'd say, "Oh, you have a big ball of energy around you." And I go, that's interesting. I am an athlete, have been all my life. And I know that energy is created more so when you have muscle masses. So it kind of makes sense that I may have more electricity in my body. Is it my spirit? It's electricity that keeps us going. And I do have allergies. I apologize, everybody. Sounds I'm still got it. But anyway, so my voice is a little off again tonight. I'm sorry. So the energy field around us is large like this. And what I want to bring to your attention tonight is for you to get to a place where, as in doing a reading, you can manipulate, move your energy force so you can feel things around you. So when I say to you, I would like you to, with you and your friend, get on the phone, have a sense of her before you dial, or him. Have a sense of your mom. I told you last week that you can do this with a child. You can do this with a pet. Can't do it to my one cat, but I can do it to the other. The real strong one, very aggressive one, it's not so easy, but I have one that's really a very gentle little cat, and I can get to him really easily. I want you to learn how to do that, because that's instrumental in being successful in observation and tracking of UFOs. Now, because I don't think about it too often, for me to go outside and see if I can find a UFO by sensing isn't something I can do today. Yet Shar and I have talked about, as MUFON last week, she talked about, or this week you have the MUFON lady on. It would be exciting. I think she's got something coming up on MUFON the 24th of September in Placerville to go out and do UFO sightings. And between now and then, I want to sharpen my skills, see if I can do that. So what we want to do is have you widen and broaden your ability to have a sense of family, friends, and get to a place where you can reach and touch somebody. And I mentioned last week that people who watch the show and involved with this environment have probably had experiences. Either they had a sense of danger, danger, Will Robinson, don't go on that street, go this way instead, or don't eat that, eat this instead, or danger family member, you call them up. It happens to us all the time because you're energetically connected to the people you love. And I told you I could go to my son really easily. I go with my daughter too, but she works nighttime, so right now it'd be more difficult. So when I say to you, slow down and realize that we have energetic fields around us that we can learn to control. Because seeking out the fields around the UFO is the same process, meaning they not necessarily are alive, but they have magnetic energy around them so they can fly. Listen, I've just fallen in love with Skywalker Ranch, and that the fellow's talking about magnetic fields and cold energy versus hot, and magnetic versus anything else. I'm right there. I know exactly what they're talking about. So it's magnetic forces that are keeping these little things up in the air. Big ones, I don't know. But there is something similar to human beings, but I can't tell you if they're alive or not. I just think it's magnetic fields. So when we talk about reaching out and feeling something in the air, you have to put your mind to a place of not only accepting the thought that they are real, but accepting the fact that you are now tuned to them. And a lot of ways to do about this. I encourage my people, when you want to do a reading, be a reader, is to find other people's stories and experiences. Read up everything you could ever find about psychic experiences, um, people who've done ghost investigations, people like myself. I have a book out too, written in 94, so many years ago, the first one. But they're all talking about what we've been able to accomplish so early. And if you can find something that you have done that I wrote about or somebody else, I aligned myself with Eileen Garrett when I read her book so many years ago. I think she passed away in 77. I'm not positive. I think so. I read her books and I thought, oh my gosh, I think just like her. Engineering background, nuts and bolts, and she was newspaper nuts and bolts. Um, I I never have dreams that come true, like spirit people in my dreams. They're just all around me all the time. So you find somebody, you go, oh, I can do that. What it does is allows your inside person to accept this, so that each time you try something, it's easier and easier. So it's not like you're going to listen to tonight because I've got a lot more to share with you. But if you
Mm-hmm.
take what I'm talking about, allow yourself a few weeks to develop it, absolutely you can start going somewhere and picking it up. Now, I guess I should say, never in a million years would I find something above my house. Was that say, oh, we know that woman down there. We're gonna give her a thrill. Our husband's going to see us. I absolutely not. Oops, look at this. I love it. But what I might say is that there are places, and the MUFON lady the other day, she says, was it Fresno or Modesto, has a huge number of UFOs experiencers.
Fresno.
Fresno, I was just absolutely
Yes.
amazed because there are people, well, if you want to drive up to Montague, Wairika, they have a lot going up there because my husband saw too.
That was one thing too. I was amazed by that because I thought because
What?
you got the store that blew me away because you got all those metaphysical stores in Weed. All the way up there to go up past Reading and all that. It just turns metaphysical. All the stores in
Shasta,
downtown
Mount
Shasta.
Shasta's.
And that's why
Oh,
it shocked me. And when she said that, I was like, wow.
and we were up there. We lived there for
Oh yeah.
a lot of years. I was up there a
And I
lot of
sat for
years.
2 years on my porch waiting for the top of Mount Shasta to see the reptilians. But
Well, we saw Mount Shasta too. We were further away, but
yeah.
your view was just outstanding. The night goggles, you could have probably saw a lot. So clearly, you have to go to an area that has seen or had other people report, had reports of
Mm-hmm.
UFO experiences. And there are a couple of sites, MUFON.com, you can report a sighting. So you need to do MUFON.com. Okay, I want to get back on track, everybody, because I do have a lot to talk about.
Right.
Um, started out, as I spoke about spirit ghost investigations, seeking out the fields around UFO is the same process. I don't know where my client is until I reach through with my mind to him or her, which usually it's on the phone nowadays. Nowadays, it's been maybe 10, 15 years when people stop having people show up in their homes. And it's just society. So when I hear a voice, whether it's on the phone or we do a Zoom, it's the same process. It's amazing. There is no distance in space like this. It's just like instantaneous. And I've told you I have one client in England and one in Italy. Yeah, that's the only two I can think of that's always video. And it's instantaneous when I can talk to them about questions. They ask me a question, it's instantaneous. So if it's about them, I enter their space and get time, or it's in another country where the relatives are. Same process. It's no space and time is there, nothing. It's like
Mm-hmm.
investigating into a UFO. You can put your mind to a magnetic field in the sky, and there's no time or space there. It's instantaneous. And okay, so reach my mind to her voice or to a name suggested by the client. The electrical field sends me that person's field, and when I feel a different electrical force, then I know I've reached my subject. And a lot of times people say, I want to talk about this person, And if it's Italy, they have 3 daughters in the United States, and they'll give me a daughter's name. So they send a piece of their life force to that child. Well, I know what that my client feels like, because after so many people, I realize everybody has a different musical note, vibration, and that's going to come up here too. So when I reach that other person, they feel different, and that 100% of the time I'll say, I got them, and they'll go, oh, right. So let me ask my questions. The questions can be answered in real time. Okay, and that's just amazing to me. But everybody can do this with practice. So then when I thought about the UFO, I went, okay, if I'm outside and that went over my head, if I just looked at it and put my mind to it, just like a client, I should be able to feel that ball of light. And I did. And all I could say, it felt cold to me. There wasn't what I would call a personality that I could hook into as much as I could feel the edge of it. It felt more round than the square that we see people have. So, second theory, that everything has a vibration, magnetic field, and even music, even in outer space. There's a video on YouTube, and you need to find it. Of course, I didn't have time today to do it because this is the day I usually put my notes together. It's called Music of the Cosmos. And so try to find that, and it's actually quite astounding that the filaments of the universe that are here around us that make all of us who we are, there's a vibration to each and every one of us. How many have gone into a restaurant or gone to a talk or lecture classroom, and there's somebody in the side over there, and you go, oh, I don't want to sit over there, it doesn't feel good, and you walk over here to the other side. Or you've entered a place and you just say, oops, can't be here today, turn right around and leave. You don't know what's going on in there. You could be one person, there's an expression, one sour apple ruins the whole bag. It's true. It's true. So if you go into a place, and I'm not going to say restaurant, but that's what comes to mind first. You go to a library or a car place or something, grocery store, and you walk in and you go, whoa, there's a sour apple in there that's contaminating everybody. And that will set you off for a day or so. It's kind of like their essence is so negative that it burrows into everybody. Now, if there's another show, Karen Rothstein and I had another case. If it's a spirit attachment on somebody, you don't want to be there because that thing can jump from them to you. Yes. So if you get a negative feeling, absolutely, please leave. And there was a time, Shar and I did, Shar invited me to do an investigation. What was that? Was it a reformatory or boys' home that was 3 stories tall?
Preston Castle.
Yeah, so we drive up there, right? And there's spirit activity there. And I was standing there looking at it, and I just got this wave of throwing me back. And I said, oh, Shar, I can't go in there. And she looked at me like, oh, fudge, Nancy, you're supposed to go in here. Well, I don't really need to. I could just stand there and tell everybody where to walk. You know, I've done that, I'm a remote viewer. And I said, danger, danger, Will Robinson. And come to find out, another intuitive had gone, was 2nd floor. She fell through the floor. It gave way. And that's what I was picking up. It would have been me. And this woman was younger than me. And at the time, I just had such a, it wasn't one person. It was the environment of the place. Plus this accident that was going to happen was going to throw everybody off. Bad. And I picked it up, and I was forced not to go. It was like, you don't go. No one else got it, but I did. But it didn't mean someone else couldn't have. It just meant I shouldn't, for whatever reason. So when we think about spirit of visitation, we think about investigations of a location. You can see all the shows on TV with ghosts. Someone will say, oh, I feel somebody cold or hot, or someone's pushing me. Well, that is their field. Everything has a field. Everything has filaments of vibrational forces, magnetic forces, music, everything. Whatever you want to call it, there's something around everybody, including UFOs. Okay. Okay, second theory, that everything has vibration, magnetic fields, and music, even outer space. There's a video, I've already talked about that, music of the cosmos. sounding tuners. I was going to bring it right here. I have tuning forks. Boing. And was what I was supposed to. I came across it. We're emptying boxes still. We've actually only been here 4 weeks, so it's kind of like tuning forks. You can get them on Amazon, or you can get a wind chime that's metal. So the wind chimes have different sizes, and they have something in the middle. Ding, 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 ding. Very fun, very fun. Except when it's really windy, then all the neighborhoods go, what's our neighbor making all that noise? I don't remember where I went, but someone had like 5 or 6 of them in the backyard, and in a windy day, they'll go like this. I went, oh, it hurt me. There's too much of it.
I have one that sounds like the church bells because it's so big.
Oh, yes, the deep. Yes, I like the deep toned ones.
I got it at Costco. It's about 4.5 feet tall. This wind chime.
Oh, lovely.
So
I
sure
I resonate with lower tones for some reason. But anyway, so this is there's a couple things I was sharing with you to learn your magnetic field. Learn yours. And then invite a friend over and learn theirs. And have them move away so that you can put your hands up and see if you can touch each other's. And then you move away, and then you get on the phone and keep trying to connect to that person, because you're helping that person also reciprocate the learning experience. When you kind of figure out that you can touch somebody with your mind as being a reader, everybody can do this. It just, some people have more resistance to learning it because it's kind of scary. I think that we don't all have the same abilities. Maybe I got it from my father. I told you at 6 I was talking to his spirit when he got killed by a drunk driver. So yeah, we inherit switches that allow us to do it more and easier, but that doesn't mean everybody can't be me just by practice. So in some ways, maybe being open, I want to do UFO investigations. Nancy's telling me that the same principle as to be a reader. I don't like that idea, but maybe I'll practice it anyway. So then I said last week, you can also do it with your pets. I can do it with my son. To practice, to get that switch easier to maneuver back and forth, because you want to be able to do UFO investigation, same with being a reader, go to a mall. Go to a place where there's lots of people. You could go to a library, and it's easier because everybody's peaceful, but everybody's energy is different. But to a mall, there's more distractions that forces you to focus better. And the idea is to go to them. Oh, they have a stomach ache. I'm not talking to that person. Back up. And then you touch somebody else. Oh, that little girl's in love. Or she just saw a romantic movie. Fun. It's a wonderful feeling. Anger is really difficult. I don't like that. But maybe someone's mad. You need to know what that feels like. And it's all energy. Okay? And I just said to you, find people that you can read up on if you want to learn that. When I was becoming me, developing and controlling so I could develop more ability, I would find people about me. Let's turn that around. Let's go and say, why don't you get as many books in the thrift store about UFO activity possible? So one of the first books I read was Barney and Betty Hill's story. Not only that, I got the VHS tape, and then I got the interview cassette of the psychiatrist interviewing Betty and Barney Hill. Of course, that scared the dickens out of me. Part of what I didn't know if I wanted to believe it, but they were clearly honest people, and something happened to them. They didn't seem like the kind of people that would just make it up for something, attention. So one of the things I'm saying to you is becoming comfortable with the idea of UFO activity, comfortable with the idea that could be, not that you want to put it out there that you want to be abducted, but it has happened. And with the fella that was in Peyton, Northern Arizona, what was that fella's name, hon, that got abducted?
Travis Walton.
Travis Walton. I've been telling people that I don't think he was put under. The movie came out and I saw it was terrible, but my gut tells me that they accidentally killed him. The strong beam of light that came down to look at him, and they UFO peoples brought him on board to fix him. I think he died, and they brought him back. My feeling of ending, when I look at the picture, remember how he's told it when he was saying it in an interview, I had
Mm-hmm.
this feeling of loss, of his energy lost. So they brought him back. So I think it's not all really bad people out there. I think they tried to fix him. It took a few days. So read about everything and become obsessed with the idea. You have to make it common in your mind. You have to make it acceptable in your mind. You have to make it so that you think about a lot. Now, am I giving you too much? No, just remember, you're not going to go out in 2 days. You can keep trying, but I'm trying to get you to a place of doing this. Now, on YouTube, there is a lot of learn how to remote view in less than 20 minutes. Look that up. Might be fun for you, anybody who wants to take the time. But I'll tell you the essence of it is that when you're going to go out in the field, before you go, I want you with a pencil and paper, and I want you to pretend that you're in the center of it. And I want you to run your finger with a pen and just cover the paper. Because what I want you to do without thinking, I just want you to tap it with your pencil until you find north, south, east, and west. You have to have north, south, east, west. But sometimes unconsciously, you'll enter your own time and you'll put on that paper the direction the UFO could be coming from. And sometimes we need to get the idea of remote viewing is that we have our unconscious, inside unconscious person do the work. Because once you think
Mm-hmm.
about it, and I've told people over and over when I do readings, I trust my higher and higher self to give the information to the client of which they need. It's not Nancy. I'm a tool. I'm a sponge. I get the information and I spit it back out. Especially when we talk to spirit people, because the messages are so obscure sometimes. No way I would make up something. I just can't. Uh, In fact, I'd like to talk about one some other time about client. The messages I got from the daughter who just died were just, and I was right. It's like if I try change it, I put my ego in the way and say, "Oh, she couldn't have possibly said that." Then the
Mm-hmm.
mother wouldn't have got that important message. Same with remote viewing. That trust level that whatever your higher conscious is getting is the answer. So before you go anywhere, you sit and you just put yourself in the middle of the piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, north, south, east, and west, and run your hand or run a pencil so that you can unconsciously tap where you think you're going to see the UFO experiencer, UFO craft of any kind, or something you'll see in the sky. Because once you start trusting that, then we're going to move on to the next step. Um, yes, there's a lot of people out there who can do this spontaneously. Now, I have told people endless hours of doing this. My brain must be different. It must look different. When Albert Einstein passed away, he said, "I don't want anybody to touch my brain." Well, the first thing he did was take his brain, and the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, that bridge that goes in between, was double its size. This genius, this man of magnificent knowledge, without a computer, thought about the universe. He thought about it and he created his brain new to work differently. Well, I have said the same thing. My brain just works differently. And at some point, anybody listen out there, before I go into the cooker, my daughter gets the ashes, I wish someone would take my brain and figure it out, because it just works differently. And I think that when you start doing readings, you start doing investigations, you go out, try to find UFOs, new pathways are created, new ways of thinking are created. So I want you to go to a place of realizing that your brain at the moment, if you're not a reader, but you want to be, or if you want to do a ghost investigations or house investigate, whatever you want to do, UFO, go to a field and see what you can get. You have to train your brain to think differently. You can't say, "I don't believe in it. I can't say I'm going out there, I'm going to get nothing." What you're going to do is say, "I'm going to go out there and see if I can not communicate so much, but sense it." And this came up on Skywalker Beyond. You see Skywalker Ranch. The next show after it was Skywalker Beyond. So anybody, please watch these. Amazing. They interviewed this fella who had always been able to know where the UFOs are. They go to his ranch and he says, "Oh, they've been here forever." And I just think about it and they show up. Let me tell you, they put him in a not medically medical environment and they wired his brain up and it was amazing what his brain was doing. There was a way that he was calling the UFO uh, peoples or crafts because he rewired his brain to accept this, get excited about it, and feel uniquely a unique individual because he could, because he was enjoying it. And I would like you to say, I'm I want you to say to yourself, I can do this. Wow, I
Hmm.
can pull them in. I can find them. If I went in a field somewhere, I could call them because this is possible. Absolutely. Not only they are the tourists of the future or from somewhere else, they're interested in us as we are interested in them. So we
Hmm.
could have a mind to mind connection. Absolutely. Um, so I hope I didn't lose everybody on this.
Mm-mm.
Um, was that, hope you could follow what I've said because I have a tendency to jump around. So train yourself to be an investigator, the same as train yourself to be a UFO investigator. You have to train yourself to think about it, to obsess about it, to move your energy to reach and see what you can do. Yes, I did forget to do something. Okay, a tuning fork. I wanted to bring that up and I didn't finish it. Someone said, "Well, what about the tuning forks?" Someone, I might be hearing someone think that. So, tuning forks, what you can get on Amazon or like Shar said, on the patio, the wind chime type of things. Get the ones with the different sounds. Find a tone. In fact, that's a cheaper way because I think they're pricey. You can get pricey. Find the tone that resonates with you the best. Absolutely. And then I would like you to find a friend to it with them. And then I want you to move away from each other. And one will hit that tone for them and you for you. And you have to be able to hear each other. And I want you to realize that your vibration and the way you feel is going to be different than your friend. Then get on the phone and try it. And ding, ding. Now go to her and or him and feel that vibration, that music. I'll call it musical notes because UFOs have a musical note of their electrical field. Remember I said the music of the cosmos. We're all I had must have been 94, 95. I had a spirit come to me and I don't know how this works everybody. If I did, I'd sell it to you for a nickel. Um, he sensed people on the planet he liked to visit. And he said to me, he was a traveler. He just went from place to place and just visited
Hmm.
unusual people. And I went, I'm not that unusual. I just do what I do. And if you take it, oh, I can do this or that, then your ego gets in the way and then it's all ruined. So he shared with me that he visits different people because they sound different. The musical notes, the energy of them is different. So in some ways, we're all different, including UFOs. If you can get to a place of realizing what people feel like, sound like, and you can move your energy back and forth, then the next step would be the UFOs. Because in this sky, if you could do the remote viewing, and Shar and I talked about maybe she needs to do some classes to get you comfortable with that idea, is the piece of paper, put your finger in the center, and then feel that night. Move in your own time. Find you. And then find in the sky music, magnetic field, whatever you want to call it, that's different than the surrounding
Hmm.
areas because they are moving and they're like this. And that's how you know where to put your camera. Because I'm really looking forward to doing that because I'm practicing. I'm watching UFO shows. I'm getting my mind used to the idea that I want to find one, trying to get my husband to go with me because he he can do this. Um, I'd like to be able to say I can do that. How
Hmm.
exciting! Are you kidding? Um, so anyway, I did some. Oh yeah, some months better than others for spotting UFOs. I guess it depends. I thought that was an interesting question I saw online. I guess it would depend, as Shar talked of California. We're such a big state that in parts of California it's all desert. Sometimes it's on the ocean where there's fog all the time. Sometimes we have the mountain ranges with clouds. How and it be year round. I don't know. There is one particular time because even the coldest part of the wintertime, Skywalker Ranch Beyond, the time they're interviewing this fellow that can pull them in, it was snow. I mean, it was busy.
Hmm.
And so winter versus summer, I don't think it makes a difference. I would almost say in winter time, if you have clear skies, it might be easier because the energy of animals is quieter, at night is quieter, human beings are quieter and inside. I would think in the middle of summer when you have the best clear skies possible, everybody's out and about. So it depends on the environment. Shar and I talked one night about both of us are night people, and I really enjoy the nighttime. It's because the neighborhood is quieter and that it feels serene. It feels night. I like it. I like it a lot. And I try not to stay up too late. My sister, um, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, before 4 o'clock, I've known her to go to bed. I have a client that gets to bed at 4 to 5 in the morning. It's because she enjoys the nighttime so much. I'm not, I'm not that late, but I do stay up late. And everybody says, "Well, Nancy, just get up early and go running." Sure, I'm talking about. It takes me it was somebody else. It takes me an hour just to wake up because I stay up late. Um, okay, so I want to go on to something as fun as this. What sort of equipment do you need? Well, clearly, you don't need anything if you have good eyes and you can do remote viewing and you can pick an area in the sky by testing ahead of time, remote view and test ahead of time where you can look. But I want you to look up you. This is a web address, ufostop.com, ufostop.com. And they have a tab for equipment, a tab how-to page, and
Hmm.
equipment they suggest. Digital cameras also recommend infrared digital camera. They have articles on how to use this equipment. And I do recommend night vision glasses if you can afford it. Um, Absolutely, thrift stores, eBay, anywhere you can buy used them, but then it's used, so you don't know if you're gonna get a lens that's cracked. Um, and, FVTGA night vision goggles. Amazon has got some really good sales going on. EMF meters, electromagnetic field. These are the ones that you use for ghost investigation. Single axis EMF meters, tri-field meters, video capture devices, full spectrum camcorders and cameras. Very much the same as you would do in ghost investigations because they are resonating a magnetic field, which is crazy. I love it. There's another site I recommend. Web address is bestproductsreviews.com. Those are plural. Bestproductsreviews.com. And they have a lot of information on just products to use for investigation for ghosts and UFO. Amazon equipment page has UFO detector, $114 dollars and 44 cents. There's a lot of UFO sites that carry the recommend this product, and I don't know anything about it. Internal magnetometer interface with microcontroller for 24 hours, 7 days a week, monitoring for magnetic anomalies. The anomalies that have been reported with many UFO sightings. A compass, because when they're around, the compass goes like this. So I think what they're talking about is a landing and the individuals land close by. This will pick it up. Not something I want, but who knows? They'd have to fly pretty close. The one that we saw, I can't measure distance in the sky, but my husband said 4,000 or 5,000 feet. Seemed like I don't know if I would get um, UFO detector internal magnetometer. I don't know. Okay. This was fun. This is two reviews of this, client reviews. What a unique device. It sits on our table. Red lights circling around in the inside. When an electromagnetic force comes near, it sounds the alarm, not too loudly, so as to scare the aliens away. One more thing, however, it also appears to detect spirits in any room if they come too close to the device. Obviously, obviously their electromagnetic output is far lower than an alien's. So they pretty much have to touch the device. Still pretty cool though. This is what I thought. This fella wrote more, but this is a sentence he wrote. Uh, asked what he would do if a UFO was detected and offered to send his wife out to see if any family members were returning. So that's fun. That's fun. Amazon UFO detector magnetometer interface that was on there. Cobra Rad 350 laser radar detector, $79. As you as I've said to you, I found out that same equipment used for ghost and hunting can do UFO investigation also. But I would think that if you could get binoculars, if you get infrared binoculars, if you can get a camera that also has the infrared that you could capture stills, that would think that would be um, most impactful for people starting out. All this other stuff, you'd almost I so YouTube has a lot of UFO alien landing, alien interchanges in people's
Hmm.
homes. If you had some of these things, would you want it to go off? Oh, where do I look? There was a lady that was talking to a relative on the phone, and I guess she had it was a face to face type of thing, but someone was recording it. I don't know how this worked. And when she got done, when she was talking, her friend or woman, cousin, whoever on the line saw an alien behind her and it was recorded. So if you
Ooh.
have these, yes, how would you look that up? Go to YouTube, FaceTime alien scene, something like that. Woman sees alien behind her FaceTiming relative, something like that, because you can find all these. This is where I saw it. And to think that they are in our homes, like our spirit people are they monitoring us in our homes to see how us primitive animals act in in our lives? I I don't know. That would be I've told people over and over I had a past life in Egypt and a past life in Japan. And clearly I have never been to Japan. I've never been to Egypt.
Hmm.
But when I pass over, I'd like to visit Japan. I I think I know about where I was. It's nobody special, it's just countryside, but would be fun to visit as a spirit person. But if I was a alien, yeah, I think I would visit also. And they resonate at a different vibration, not like a spirit person. They speed up. They, some kind of that we can't see them.
Hmm.
It's a little makes me kind of goosey to think about it. Who knows? Maybe they're around us now. But we're on camera, and I would think that once this is played back, if someone poked their head in our door here, we would see it. But normally our eyes won't allow us to. There's a famous picture of a little girl, 1950s, I think. Her father took a picture, and it's a field with nothing around, but out of her head is a looks like a spaceman, like one of our space people, just the top half of him. He's got the helmet on, a white jumpsuit look, and clearly our eyes were not allowed to see what the camera saw and took a picture of.
Hmm.
So it could go to a place where this activity is everywhere, which is very, very fun. Well, I got it to us to 7:30. I hope
There we
you
go.
enjoyed I hope you enjoyed. I hope I gave you thoughts and ideas on how to at least start this process. Um, getting to know your field, getting to know your friends, getting to know how to move your life force out. Try it at the malls. Last week, I was sharing with people if you really want to be a reader, get a site for Blog Talk Radio. You could do the same thing, but what would you talk about? You just want to hear the voice and move your life force. Because once you're in the field looking for alien life, whether you touch, oh, I was going to make up the story here. I wanted to share a story. I got approval from the daughter there's a woman in the Placerville area, and she and I ran around a lot. It's a long story, but I haven't talked to her for a while. And she was sharing one day that she went out looking for her dog. And this was very enlightening to me, and I'll tell you why. Um, the house has a two-car garage detached from the main structure. So she heard the dog, and she went around just from the garage doors open up, just around the corner, and she saw a small alien. And as she was looking at this alien, she wasn't afraid, but she said to herself, "Small? I thought they were a little taller than that." And just as she said that, the adult, which was taller, went around from a tree and grabbed the young one because they weren't close, they were far enough away, as a parent would a child, and pulled, and then they disappeared. Like they put on that, no one's going to see us. What is that called, Char, when everything goes invisible? Anyway, so they disappeared, and she felt like they field of invisibility was turned on.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what it was is this child was hearing the dog and came around to see the dog, but didn't have the field visibility because he hadn't been seeing the living beings there. And so when my friend went around and was seen, it startled the child. Now we're all thinking that these are not children, adults, not families, but robots. But she said, but the way the adult, as a father would, not the mother, grabbed the child, a mother wouldn't be as aggressive like that. So it could be us in the future, thousands of years. But the way the child was grabbed made her think of a parent and a child. And so I got permission to tell that story because it not only made us realize that they're interfacing with us in a lot of different ways, invisibly, because they did disappear right in front of my friend's eyes, but they're also living family units like what we have, flesh and blood, which is kind of amazing. And they're from our future. I felt like she felt like they were future. She's very intuitive, and she said, I felt like they were us from the future because the limbs and everything look similar but not. And they're everywhere, like spirits everywhere. I think that these people are here, been here.
Mm-hmm.
My one experience was a real experience, or it was a dream, because I don't have proof. The message was, we want, and it was strange because the entity said to me, we want to be on the dirt. And I thought, oh, that was odd. Well, odd way for me to hear that. On the dirt? Well, where are you normally? Are you in the water? Are you in the ground? Because he said on the dirt. And I think we're going to have more information come up, I would say, before a year's up. Because this was about a year ago. And I just felt like maybe those of us that get messages like this, or our imagination, we're supposed to speak of it. So the people that watch our show can get used to the idea. Well, maybe they just don't want to be invisible to us anymore. Maybe they want to be with us and enjoy our friendship. And then the only thing I could think of, well, the Indians didn't, my Indian family, I'm lucky to be here. So many died. The Indians on the East Coast didn't do so well once the white people came. So that was my only comment. You better be treating us nice, All right, Char, we did it.
Okay.
I only ran 10 minutes over.
It's okay. It's all clear. Okay, guys. Well, Sunday I will be back 6:30 p. or 6 p.m. Pacific, reading Mary Muter's book, the Book of Buried Letters. We're still reading her Dear Flower Lady section, where she went back as an adult. Yes. She went back as an adult because she had buried, as a kid, she used to talk to the fairies and stuff out in the yard. And so she used to write poetry and her thoughts down. Instead of using a diary, she'd write them into bottles and jars, and she buried them all over the property. And then as an adult, she went back, and she was able to gather up a bunch of them. So
wow, what a great idea.
So the book covers, because we're past the main part of the book, it covers her childhood and stuff, and her interactions with her family and writing these letters.
Yeah.
But the part that we're in now is the epilogue on it, where she's gone back and she's just reading through these things. And so she's got them categorized by years, so we're still reading through. when we finish this book, she has a follow-up to it, which is going to be really cool, and it's on past lives.
Ooh.
So we're going to continue with it. But it's an interesting book. I get a chance. It gives me a chance to read poetry, which I don't do all the time, and it's fun. There's poems in there, and there's Dear Flower Lady letters, and all kinds of stuff, all about nature and fairy folk, and and the thoughts of a young girl growing up in Oregon. So that'll be Sunday. Monday is going to be a unique day. I'll be back, and I got a surprise guest Monday. I don't know if it's going to be Nancy or what we're going to be doing Monday, but next week is going to be an interesting week because we have guests coming in on some days, but we don't on other days. So we're going to kind of do a hodgepodge mix, and I think Nancy and I are going to come up with some creative topics for next week. Karen Clark's going to be back here working with us on some projects. So, and also the regression at some point, maybe this weekend or early next week, I'm going to let Nancy do the regression on me, and we'll see what happens. Let's see how that goes. So, be looking for that next week. Okay, well, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to go ahead and give you Nancy's information. Nancy, thank you for coming tonight.
Hi, Jerry. I see that Jerry's in our talk.
Yeah. Let me get your information out. Yes, go ahead.
Thumbs up, everybody, if you enjoyed tonight. Let me know.
Yes.
If you write a note, let Shar know if there's something else you want me to talk about.
Yes.
It's fun to talk about all kinds of things. Okay, everybody.
And if you guys want, I can put together a remote viewing class. Let me know on that.
Great idea. Great idea.
I'd love to teach a class on remote viewing. Something I haven't taught yet, but I can do this. Again, like Nancy says, if you like the show, please leave us a thumbs up, a happy face, smiley, whatever. Show us some love. That goes for Facebook and YouTube. If you haven't done so already, please feel free to subscribe over on YouTube and follow on Facebook, because we're always looking for followers.
Yes.
TikTok, if you're watching from TikTok, please feel free to subscribe over YouTube. And if you're watching from Twitter, so many of them, If you're watching from Twitter, please feel free to visit our TikTok site and subscribe over there. And subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, and all that good stuff. Okay, well, without further ado, let me show you Nancy's information, and then we're going to leave you guys alone. Websites, nancymatz.com, nancymatzauthor.com. The N, the M, and the A are capped. And you've got youtube.com/nancymatzpsychic. Help, get me out of this funk. Written by Nancy Matz. Two Worlds, Developing Your Psychic Skills, written by Nancy Matz. And The Unwilling Sacrifice, written by Nancy Matz. And of course, you can get those at Amazon. Okay, well, again, before we cut off, if you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hear the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. Equal opportunity here. We're just trying to get the word out about this little old show, and thank you all. Thank you all for joining us this week for UFO UAP week, and hopefully we can continue that tradition. We got a lot of guests coming up for September that are really, really good guests, so stick with us. The show is growing every day. We grow every day. All right, see you guys on Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific. Have a great one.